Is this the segment we like poker talk?
Poker talk. Yeah. Straight flush on the
That's the
river. Yeah.
segment. The segment. That's the segment.
Aces over queens. It's our poker
That's
segment.
a thing. That's a phrase. You're saying accurate phrases. Like
I'm
the things that you
learning.
said, they all actually mean stuff. So you don't know what they mean, but they are things.
Great. I was joking about this because I could name.
Aces over queens is a thing. It's a thing.
It's a thing. I talked about how
Do you
I
know what
could
it
name.
means? Do you want to know what it means?
It means if you have a full house with three aces and two queens.
That's right. Look at you. Aces over queens. You know what else it's called?
The devil's bargain.
Aces full of queens.
Oh, yeah. How about queens full of kings? That's what we're looking for.
Queens full of kings is a real
Yeah,
thing too, and we all
yeah.
know what that means.
I
And
saw that. I saw that
outside of the
video.
poker
I
world,
saw that video.
two girls, one cup.
Ladies, gentlemen, and friends beyond the binary, welcome to Girl Dick with Ted Cruz, starring Lilith Electra Zarling, Amanda Bonanza, and esteemed Republican Senator from the great state of Texas, your host, Ted Theodore Cruz.
A podcast where two trans girls answer questions from other trans people about being trans, and then just see
Not
what.
snappy enough. Not snappy enough.
No,
Needs to
no,
be
no. We feed that into the AI, and we tell them to give us a title.
right. No, that's the
Yeah.
thing. Is like, yeah, like we can sit and just run through AI
Let
together.
Let
Like
me do this. Let me think about this over the week to see. I'll come up with a list of
that's
ideas,
what I'm
and
saying.
we'll do it next Sunday. We'll just like dive on in. But yeah, go get
That's
your
what I'm talking
coffee.
about. Yeah.
Go get your coffee, and we'll do questions when you get back. Save that for the podcast.
Is it there? I think I
That
got
was
it.
great. That was an amazing sneeze.
Did I ever tell you about my old boss, how she used to sneeze? I think so. I
Yeah.
think I might have said this, but like her name was Beep. But she was the branch manager at Atlantic Bank in Ocean Pines, Maryland. And she went like this. She would go,
Oh my god. You're gonna
it
blow the
was
back of your head out. You gotta let
I
everything
don't know
out.
what she was doing. I saw that and like I just like laughed. I exploded into laughter. I was like 19 years old. I just
She
like
does
was like
that. She does that, and then snot just comes out of her ears and her eye sockets because it got forced
yeah,
back up.
it's like there's a hole. There's just a hole bubbles up and this just leaks out like in her temple.
Yeah, that's going in the podcast too. Go get your coffee. Today's my shot day. Shot,
Ooh.
shot, 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 shot. Yeah.
How do you like the shots?
I like the shots. I think like, it's been 5 years. So I think it's less that I'm noticing like every time I take my shot. Like I know some people said they take their shot and it's like, it like gives them energy. And I realized like the first day I took my shot, my estrogen shot, I was like bouncing off the wall for a day and a half. I told my boss if I was working at the office, you guys would have sent me home. I was just like, I wasn't doing a bad job. I was just too much energy. I was like jamming music stuff, and I just feel like I feel like I'm maintaining, and I think that's what happens after a few years. Like the estrogen is just
You're
about
used to it, yeah.
maintaining. It's not about seeing more physical changes. But you said, oh my god, I don't know if I like this blonde
Yeah,
hair. It looks like I've got
I
no
don't
hair
know.
there.
It does kind of look like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I should probably just stop doing this and just like do this. And now it's
there you
better.
go. That's it. You just fixed it. No, I know that's the thing is like I'm it's weird because like I've talked to different people that like if like it's I just don't I expect nothing at this point. It's like I
Yeah.
still feel like I'm at that point where it's like I'm at that point in the acid trip where like the initial definitely post peak
Yeah.
and like where it is like where you're coming down and you kind of think you think you're back to normal, but then something's gonna hit and it's gonna be
Yeah.
like, whoa, hello. And like I still feel, and it's like I said, well, it's like, it is so gradual. And we've both been through so much and
Yeah.
get bombarded with so much shit at first that any reduction of that feels like it's ground to a halt. But then, like I said, I look at pictures. I look at a picture from a year ago, or like even like, yeah, like that picture of you from a year
Yeah.
ago. You look so different. Like, and it's just like, and I know like if a picture of me from a year ago, it's like I know it's probably like I look radically different.
Yeah.
But it doesn't feel like it. I feel like I look the same because the year is a long fucking
I
time,
mean,
So it's
getting
still happening.
you're getting
I
radically cuter every week. It's
Oh.
crazy. It's crazy. I log in and I'm just like, you know what? I'm gonna talk to Amanda for an hour and I see her every week, and then I see you and you're like, you're somehow cuter and more adorable. And then all the things I would do to keep you safe, it's just a little more. I'd be like, yeah, I'd kill two people.
I'm so glad. I want to kill people too.
God, that's why this
Kill
podcast
people
works.
together.
But I was gonna say something about this that I don't have a specific question for, but I think it's a good lead into the start of the podcast maybe today, is that thing about um, that gradual change and talking about like I see so many questions from people who are like, I've been doing this for like a year and a half, been doing this for 2 years, and I don't see changes. And I think sometimes you have to get rid of that preconceived notion of what you think is going to happen, because I think, and I
I
was
think that's
guilty of this
super
too.
huge. Yeah.
I was thinking this too. I'm like, this is going to happen, this is going to happen. I'm like, this is like, you're not going to change that radically, but it's a journey that's not, I mean, not as radically as
You're
fast, not as fast, I would say,
not
it's
fast, but
very
I mean, I think it's
gradual.
pretty
um,
radical change.
but
Like it's,
I think you can't get also just wrapped up in the physical change, and we've talked about this in the past before. It's like the
mm,
mental change, and that's because now
it's
I'm going
the
to tie it
whole
back. I'm going to
package.
tie it back to this thing I kind of mention a little every week, is Lilith's weight loss journey. And like I hit
Hmm.
another milestone. And for me, the whole shift has been like getting out of the idea of focusing on the weight and quitting if I go like a week without anyone. And I've done this in the past. Like this is what I'm gonna do, and then like 2 weeks later, I'm still at the same and I quit. And it's like it's about being healthy, and all that other stuff follows. And the same thing with your transition. It's about being your best self, and if you focus on that and not on physical ideas that you want to reach, or how you're not changing in ways that you want, and focus more on your journey and how you're becoming more of who you want to be, that's going to make all those other things, easier to accept, and not even things you have to accept, because you're not concerned about those, and those changes will come. Like I said, it's hard to see if you're just seeing every day. You look in the mirror and the changes are so insignificant that you can go 6 months and nothing you change. Then you go to a party and people haven't seen you in a while and they're like, what? And that's just it, They're like
I
gradual
think
change,
that's
like keep
so
up the work.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of wisdom in that. And I think that it's like I think it's beyond even transition. I think that's just like life
Life.
wisdom. Like it's like that's a solid like blueprint for how to deal with pretty much anything, which is like it's like if you're focused on like I think there's so much of life is like this and I think this is especially true like in the modern era and where we live in the United States, where it's like we have this idea of like you have to reach a goal and you have this predetermined goal of where you've got to get there quick.
Hmm.
And like it's just almost nothing works like that. Like
Right.
and it's why our society doesn't work. Like because
Hmm.
it's abhorrent from nature. Like it doesn't work. It's that's not how anything is. But it's like you said, if you focus, if you have like, oh, I'm gonna take estrogen and I'm gonna look like this in 3 months, well, you're definitely not. Like that's not how it
Yeah.
works at all. But if you decide to transition, and I've said it before like in different ways, it's like it's you have to fully embrace it. You can't just like decide, oh, I'm just going to take these pills and I'm going to grow tits and I'm going to look like a supermodel in 3 months, even though I don't put any work into it and I'm not going to change anything about the way I do. And like it's like you have to embrace the whole package. It's like the physical the physical transformation is just like one part of it. That's just one aspect of it. It's you know, it's the most clearly the most visible aspect of it.
Yeah.
Like it's definitely that. But like so much is everything else. Like I mean, there's like the voice and there's the mental like aspect, and there's the reactions, and then just the attitude and like the way you carry yourself. And like Lilith said, it's like it's all about like the big package, and and just being the best person, being yourself is
Yeah.
really what it's ultimately about. And like the people that like like me and Lilith, who are trans femme, is like it's like, well, for us it was like it's like it who we physically were was inaccurate. Like
Yeah.
that
Right.
that was an impediment. That in and of itself is an impediment to like who we were. And so the physical aspect frees you from that and allows you to the vessel to be yourself. But like I
Yeah.
mean, but it's not just that, but at the same time, it's really it's really
Yeah.
good.
It's
Like,
so
and it's
good.
really
It's
important.
so good.
And it's like you can't fully manifest without it, like, because that's just as important as the other aspects of it too.
Yeah.
But like it's like I said, like it's the trifecta. It's the mind, body, soul. Like they all have to be firing on the same in
Yeah.
sync. And it's like if you've got like a combustion engine and the timing belt's fucked up, and like the spark plugs aren't firing when they need to, and they're not synced with the carburetor or whatever the fuck, I don't know about engines, but like but like it's like that. It's like if your
Yeah.
shit's not working in tandem, then it's not gonna really work, and you're not gonna see the results that you want. And like that's that sort of like that snowball effect where it's like where like it's like, well, I'm not getting the results that I want, so I'm disappointed, so I'm not inspired to put myself into it. But and then just like this, it's
Yeah.
this vicious cycle of like of perpetual like disappointment. But it's really just fixed by like just changing your attitude around, which is like I said, that's an easy thing to say. But like
Mhm.
for someone that like, and it's just especially hard for like trans people, because like as a general rule, we're just like we're just imbued with so much trauma,
Yeah.
like from the out of the gates. And like it takes like so much like just like emotional and mental fortitude to overcome that trauma. But just coming out and like in and of itself is just such an important step forward for that. And then if you can do that, like then you're gonna like you just have to keep working. And
Yeah.
it's a lot of work too. It's like
Yeah.
it is, you have to work, and you have to like, and you have to do it in the face of opposition. Like people will fight you, and they'll make it difficult. Like, and you are going to lose some friends or family, like, and you are going to like, you might lose your job, and you might lose your situation, or like your situation's definitely going to change.
It's gonna be
But that's what
changing
you
it.
want.
Yeah.
But that's what you want. Like, so it's
Yeah.
like it's that other thing that Lilith talks about all the time, where it's like if people are happy to be in their ruts, and like because it's easier to like be miserable in the situation that you're familiar with, and it's the devil,
I've already
like,
conquered this misery. I know how to
yeah,
deal with this misery every day.
exactly. It's like it's horrible and I hate it, but I know it, and I
I
know
know
what to
what I have to
expect.
do.
It's like it's not as scary as the unknown.
It's like if you lived in a
Like it,
place where every day a giant spider came down and bit you in the arm, but you knew that after it bit you, you just had to suck out the venom and spit it out. And you'd be like, well, this kind of sucks, but at least I know what to do when the spider bites me. It's like, why don't you just get away
pretty
from the
much.
spider? Just get away from the spider.
But then I won't know. I won't have that familiar
That familiar bite
but
every
I mean, it
morning.
is that
Yeah,
ridiculous
it
though,
is.
because it's like people do that every day with their jobs and like
Yeah,
their marriages and like their just the situation where it's
yeah,
just it's like, oh, this like that it could be better, but in order to make it better, you have to like rip yourself out of a situation that you're like kind of sewn into, like
yeah,
almost in a way. And then and it's fuck, it's scary. Like I'm doing it. I'm uprooting my whole life like right now. Like, and I
yeah.
am I'm changing. I'm leaving everything I've ever known to do something I've never done before. And
Yeah.
I'm 46 years old and trans in a world that is hostile
To
towards trans
46-year-olds.
people. Like, yeah, and to 46-year-old trans women, they're not super welcome anywhere. Like, there's no real safe place. Like, it's like,
Yeah.
ooh. And so like but fuck it. I have like, I've made up my mind. It's like I can't not do it because the alternative is unacceptable. It's like I'm
Yeah.
miserable. So like I'm gonna try a new thing and like I don't know how it's gonna work. I don't know what's gonna happen. Like I might die in a ditch somewhere. That's a thing that could happen. But I'd rather die in a ditch somewhere trying than like just have a shittier day every day for the rest of my life for till I die at 90
Yeah.
in absolute misery and disappointment. Like it's like I'll take the fast adventure, but like that's also my personality.
Yeah.
It's like I am that kind of person that is willing to risk it for the biscuit.
Yeah. Speaking of, I don't want to get this intro to go too long, but I have another thing I want to talk
Oh, this is the
about.
longest intro ever.
This is going to be great. This is going to be like 30 minutes in is when the opening credits will run. But have you ever done this? Have you ever met someone like as a trans woman, you meet like a cis woman, you're like, that's exactly it. That's where I want to get to.
Oh yeah.
I was
Goals.
I was at a party, and a friend of mine, and I won't mention names. I'm sure if this person heard this, they'd know I was talking about them, but I don't think it's that big a deal. It was a party, and it was friends, but also like family. So her grandmother was there, and her grandmother lives on a community. It's like a group of people bought like a huge area of land, and people have individual plots and farms on it. A commune is probably like the wrong answer, but it's like a planned
But it's
separate
closer
community.
to that than
Yeah.
this.
And
Yeah.
she is talking about she has like 4 or 5 cows. She learned how to make cheese and like bought the equipment for that. She does like pottery and just like plugging away on this farm. And I'm just like, every time I think about it, it's like, oh my God, that's like my grandma was like that. My grandma lived alone in like northern Wisconsin until she was in her 80s on a farm. She had sold off most of the farm, had like 2 acres left that she like had gardens and stuff. And I'm just like, yeah, this is exactly what I don't need all this other shit. I don't need to be in the city. But I was just like, you ever just meet that and you're just like, listen to this person, you're just like, oh my God, this is where I want to be.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's the thing is like you gotta do it. You gotta
Yeah,
get there. Like, and that's the thing is that's the trick. It's like sometimes you can see exactly where you want to be and
Yeah.
like but you don't know what to do to get there. And it's
Right.
you gotta wade through
Gotta
the
take them
shit
first
sometimes.
steps.
You
Yeah.
gotta take the first steps. Like it's like I'm trying so many different things right now and like I'm scared of all of them because I don't know that any of them are gonna work.
Yeah.
And I need 2 of them to work. Like and so it's like, well,
we'll see.
I don't
But
know.
you're trying. That's the important thing is just keep trying. But like, yeah.
I'm just gonna do it. I have no choice. I must do it.
Yeah.
I'm not fucking getting a job. Tell you that. Done with that shit.
Done with this shit. I am done with
it.
this shit.
Mm-hmm. Oh fuck.
Yeah. Welcome to Girl Dick with Ted Cruz. I'm Lilith. That's Amanda. Ted Cruz could not be here tonight and is probably going to get fired very shortly. But we're glad that y'all are here because we love y'all and we're excited to talk about being trans and give our opinions and insights. And I always like to avoid advice, but give you guidance to finding, what's best for you, and helping you through the tough times that comes with being trans in 2023. Yeah. How you doing?
I'm all right. I'm persevering.
Yeah, that's all we can do sometimes. Just get to the next day.
Getting through.
I always
one
tell
foot in front of
people,
the other, I'm carrying the weight.
Yeah. If you're struggling, if you're having a tough time, realize you've made it to this day. All you got to do is make it to tomorrow and just keep pushing on and you'll get there. You'll get there. That sounds like the end of the podcast. That's a
It
weird way
sure
to start that. That
does.
sounded like a
I
goodbye,
might
but
cut
this
it
is
and
a
put it
hello.
there.
Yeah, put it there. This is a hello. So yeah, do you want to just jump in, get some questions
I
going?
think we should. I think
I
we
think we
should just jump
should.
in.
Yeah, let's just jump in. This person, their post is titled "Male to Female Imposter Syndrome," and they say, "Some
Hmm.
days I feel amazing for being strong enough to accept that I am transgender. Other days I hate myself and tell myself that I'm not really transgender and I'm just doing it for attention. Any suggestions for how to overcome this? Right? Oh,
Oh.
I'm sorry.
Oh.
Yeah,
Well, the first suggestion is get rid of that poison shit in your head. You're not doing it for attention. You're clearly not. No one does that. That's not a
yeah.
thing. Like, get rid of
Especially
that. That's a
today.
notion.
Who would be doing this
But
for
yeah,
attention?
no one, no one. And you know what? Even if that is your reason, it's still valid.
Yeah.
Like it's your it's not that's not a thing. Like
Yeah.
if it even if it was like I mean, can you imagine like going through what we all go through just for like attention like that? I mean, I think it's like it's impossible because like you couldn't do it.
Yeah.
Like you would have to at some point it would overtake that aspect and it would just be who you are.
Right.
Like it's too big of a deal. Like no one could possibly do it. But like, I mean, imagine that. Like, imagine like it's like I'm gonna change genders. I'm not trans, but I'm gonna be trans
just
just so people look at me.
just to
Like,
get the
and like
neighbors whispering.
I know it's so wild that thing, but here's the thing about that is like I could understand very much how one could feel like that. And like so question asker, like what I would say is like understand like A that that's not a thing and B that that is dysphoria talking. That is all the negative input that the world sends to
That's Republican
transgendered
talking
people.
points.
That's what it
Yeah.
is. That's the whole like narrative of like that's every all the anti-trans stuff, all the like all the world being like, oh, well, it's dangerous. You might regret it. All that stuff, like that shit builds and builds and builds, and it seeps in the poison. It's all toxic. It's all garbage, and it's all wrong. And
Yeah.
not just like wrong, I disagree with it, like it's all factually incorrect,
Right.
it's literally not the way that it is, like they're just dead ass wrong about everything like
Right.
and so it's like they don't understand what they're talking about, but there's so much noise and so much pressure, and the outside world is so hostile towards us that like that shit seeps in and it gets in and it's like, well, maybe I'm not, because there's a
Right.
part of you, and there's a thing, it's called internalized transphobia, and like we've all got it to some degree where it's like, it's like, oh fuck, well maybe I'm not good enough to like, maybe I don't meet the qualifications, maybe like
Yeah.
I feel like you hear the stories that people tell, or like you see someone like me or like Lilith, and like and you hear our stories and like what we went through, but you're like, well, I relate to some of that,
Yeah.
but not all of that. So I guess if I don't relate to all of that, then maybe I'm not really trans and I'm just doing this for selfish reasons. It's like A, like no, you're not. And B, even if you were, that's fine. And C, it's like no one's experience is the same. It's a very
Yeah.
unique thing. Everyone's different, but the one thing that we all have in common is that we do it.
Yeah.
Like is that it's no one does this by mistake, and no one does this by like on a flight of fancy because they think it might be cool.
Right.
That is not a thing, because it's too consequential, it's too big, it's too life changing, and like it and not only for you but for everyone you've ever
Yeah.
known. Like
I would.
it's just it's go on.
Yeah. Well,
Yes.
I would say like one thing I would do like if I was working with like if I'm coaching someone and they say like, "Am I doing this just for attention?" Like, really just sit down in that and think about, okay, what attention are you getting? Like what's the kind of attention you feel like that question is like? If you're doing this for attention, what's the attention you're wanting? Are you getting that? Is it positive attention? And you'll find that you're not doing it for attention. And that's the thing, is like we talked about, it's like these talking points. So of course you think about, oh well, I heard that there are people out there who do it. No one's doing it for that. That's a made up lie. you see, oh, I heard this story about this person who detransitioned. Republicans have like 4 people who detransitioned, and they just keep showing up on the same talk shows, and they keep showing up at legislative sessions. So it's not like there's an army of detransitioners out there. There is a small handful who are making this,
They made
basically
it
their
into a
job.
career
They've
too.
made it into a
It's like
career
they're
being a professional detransitioner. So you have to realize that, and that's not saying they're not detransitioning and they have valid reasons for that. It's just that their voices are being amplified. I wish that, like, for every time a detransitioner gets space, they give space for all the people who transitioned and love it. And that's really the thing, is you have this whole segment of
it's like
society, 30, 40
it's
percent of the
like
country,
10,000 to
all
1.
everything they know about trans people comes from this one interview they saw with this person who transitioned, and wasn't happy with it. And I feel bad for that person. I'm sorry you went through that, but just because one person regrets something doesn't mean you should make it illegal or make it an impossible barrier for other people to. That'd be like saying, well, shoot, someone lost money in the stock market, we should get rid of the stock market. I know a lot of people who invested money in the stock market and lost everything. So to protect them from doing something they don't understand, we should make the stock market illegal. I mean, we should do it for other reasons, because it allows people to just leech off society if they have enough money. But
It's a
that's
great
neither here nor
idea. I
there.
think we should get rid of the stock
Yeah,
market.
let's get rid. It doesn't make
We
any
should do
sense. It
that.
doesn't make any sense. But we better stop asking questions, or we're gonna we're being tolerated right now when we start asking questions like that. But here's the other thing I was gonna say about imposter syndrome.
Suck my fucking dick.
I see trans people always talk about imposter syndrome. Everyone fucking suffers from imposter syndrome, whether that's because of their transition or not. People who get promoted
Yeah.
at work and they talk about, I feel like I'm just showing up every day, and I'm just like here and I don't really know what I'm doing. It's like no one in the world knows what they're doing. Everyone has imposter syndrome about everything. And it really is about just, being, I say this every week, I feel it's like being in alignment with yourself. And it's like that's the only thing there's if you're being truthful with yourself, then you're not being an imposter to the world. And
It's
that's
like
all
that
you can do.
Beastie Boys lyric, which we
No,
all know you love.
no, God.
Be true to yourself and you will never fall. Here's what I got to say to y'all.
Blind squirrel finds nut. The Beastie Boys are right. Yeah, that's all it is. It's like,
Namaste.
what's to be an imposter of? People, like, they accuse you of doing something. Like, I'm just being myself. And if there's one thing I can't fake, it's being my true self. And and that's why I'm so open about my dislike for the Beastie Boys, because it would be dishonest for me to say that I'm a big fan of the Beastie Boys just because everyone else except me apparently is a huge fan of the Beastie Boys.
I think kind of that's true. I think you're
I think I really
I think
do.
most
I
people
really
really
do
like the
feel
Beastie
like
Boys.
that. I feel like I'm the only person in the
I've
world.
met very few people in my life that dislike the Beastie Boys, and like you're one of them. Like,
Hey,
and I can't. I am hard pressed to name another.
a true original here. Yeah, but that's the thing.
I know more people that dislike the Beatles than dislike the Beastie Boys.
People who dislike the Beatles are just like being contrarian.
No, I don't think that's always true. I actually I asked because I have a friend whose musical tastes I generally respect and trust, and he doesn't like the Beatles, and I asked him why, and he gave me the best answer I've ever heard, which his answer was, it's like I hear the Beatles not even trying to more than I listen to bands that I like, and that is like a great
They
answer.
are
Like,
kind
it's
of
like
everywhere.
not so much anymore. I feel like in the last like 5-6 years, like it's like the time gap of their relevancy kind of came to a close, and
Yeah.
like kind of the young people don't care about them all that much anymore. And like I feel like, and maybe that's just where I got to like in my stage of like music, but like I've kind of like closed the book on classic rock in general. It's like it's like I don't it's like I used to be a huge Pink Floyd fan, and I
Yeah.
still appreciate Pink Floyd, but I don't ever need to hear Pink
I don't need
Floyd
to hear
again.
this bullshit.
It's like I don't need to hear Led Zeppelin, like I don't need to hear the Who. It's like we've all done that. Like it's like we've all, and like I mean classic rock
Okay,
radio is the
I'm gonna put a
this
pause here. We are getting way the fuck off topic.
I will talk about Journey, and you will listen.
Ugh.
Because you have to know that yesterday, as I was driving back from Seattle,
Yeah.
I saw a Dodge Challenger that had a license plate that said Smokin. Like SMOKIN apostrophe.
You can get an
And like,
apostrophe on your
yeah, there
driver.
was an apostrophe on the license plate. It was Smokin.
Man, they really are progressive
And
out
all I
there.
thought about was Journey. It's like, hey, let's get 1978 on this shit. And like, I hope that's the only song that ever played in that car.
And the main thing is imposter syndrome. Everyone has it, and everyone has self doubts,
Everyone
and
pretends like they
it's
don't like the Beastie Boys, but really they do.
they don't. Everyone pretends like they do like the Beastie Boys.
Oh shit.
They're like, no, it's musically genius. Like na 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 na. There, I've just given you like the outline of a Beastie Boys song. Now just fill it in with any words you want. I want to have a big pizza pie. I want to go out and look at the sky. It's stupid. Stupid. I just do not care.
Everyone rapping like it's a commercial.
Na, na, na,
Acting
na,
like
na,
life
na,
is
na.
a big commercial.
Damn it. I would assume that the Beastie Boys are
Actually, one of my favorite
suffering from
lines
the
of
most
any
imposter
song
syndrome.
ever.
They're choking in imposter syndrome, and they're supposedly one of the
Oh,
greatest artists of the last 50 years.
I love getting you all riled up with the Beastie Boys. Um, while we're on it, I have to
Yeah.
come clean with you because I have a new revelation. I heard a thing about Fred Durst that I think, because I know you've got like a little bit I've made fun of you for your little bit of penchant
Just
for
yeah.
the Limp
Every
Bizkit.
once in a while I just need to hear break stuff and get me through the day.
I apparently, according to the rumor mill that I heard, that like Fred Durst in the ensuing years, I mean, that was 20 years ago, 20 something years,
Yeah.
20 to 25 years ago.
Yeah.
Like Fred Durst has like kind of come clean. He's been like, yeah, it's like I was like 20 years old and I
Yeah.
got handed $18 million and I didn't know what the fuck I was doing and I was an asshole. But
Yeah.
like he's spent the last 20 years like hanging out with like really good comedians and being like a cool dude. And so I don't have any evidence of this, but I am going to look into it and I am going to check out like I think Fred Durst may have atoned for his sins.
Okay.
And so like I kind of want to give Fred Durst another shot.
I mean, like I said, that was that time, like late '90s, where every rock act had to have rap in it, and it was just kind of like, I mean, I guess, but
Well, not the good ones, but like
no,
there were
no,
plenty of
no, no,
good
no.
rock
Um,
bands in the late
but
90s that
Fred Durst,
didn't go the Kid
I
Rock
mean,
route. Like,
what you're expressing there with Fred Durst is imposter syndrome. He just had a lot of money, and he just went out and did what he thought he was supposed to be doing.
yeah,
You know,
got
and
laughed out of the Playboy Mansion.
hey, they can laugh me out of the Playboy Mansion for $18 million. I don't give a shit. Heck,
That's
they could just send me the $18 million. I won't even try to get into the Playboy Mansion, and we'll just call it even. Just fuck
Yeah.
it.
All I'm
I don't
saying
need
is
to be
like
there.
I'm gonna lay off on my dissing on Fred because like
Yeah,
I think until I'm gonna look into it. I don't have any evidence yet.
that's
It's just
cool.
a rumor that I heard
I mean,
that
it
he
doesn't.
actually kind of got cool.
It,
And so like I wanna see if Fred Durst actually did get cool. And I like and here's the thing is like I'm no Christian, but I forgive.
yeah,
Like it's like I believe in forgiveness and like it's like if Fred Durst did something there's it's undeniable that he was a huge sack of shit 20 years ago, but that's 20 years ago. And if he's come to
hey,
terms and was like, hey, I am no longer a huge sack of shit, then good for you, Fred. I'll give you redemption. Like you've earned it.
yeah.
If you earned it,
I
like,
mean,
yeah,
just to put that in perspective, I think you and I have changed a lot in the last 20, 25 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I mean,
Yeah. Yeah.
that's a
So
thing. It would be
I'm
kind of hypocritical,
gonna
wouldn't
wrap this
it?
up. I'm gonna wrap this up. We're going to next question. Imposter syndrome. Be your best self. Live your
How am I
truth.
going to
Live
edit
your
that?
authentic
Because there's
self.
no way we can have all that in
That
there.
can all stay in there. Just let people know this is the authenticity show.
This
This is
podcast going to be 3 hours long.
This is the authenticity episode. So, be true to yourself. Do things for you. If you feel like you're doing stuff for attention, really question where that thought's coming from. And if you're doing something for attention that's not in alignment with who you are, you can just stop doing that thing. But I think that idea that you're doing it for attention is a seed planted by nefarious agents in the U.S. government, where they make it. That's not a thing. People don't transition to. There are way greater ways to get. There are way easier ways to get attention than transitioning.
Yeah, more and better attention.
Yeah,
like,
way safer,
like,
way safer socially ways to get attention as well. Yeah, you can just go be a good student and get attention that way. Like, just study hard.
That's anything that ever got really attention. Like, who ever cared about that?
I don't know. On TV, they seem to it's important. So
I've never heard of anyone that was like, "Hey, you heard of that girl in Dubuque, Iowa, that got straight A's?" Like, oh yeah, all eyes are on her.
Talking about Carrie Swenson. Yeah, she got all A's. It was great. She's from Des Moines, Iowa. Yeah, that's everyone.
It's like,
I mean, honestly, you could just join the.
You shouldn't be a good student. Like, that's a good thing to do.
You should be.
But as far as getting attention goes, I feel like there's also better routes than that.
Well, I also feel like it depends who you're trying to get attention from. I don't know if you'll get national or local news attention for getting good grades, but I assume that the people at high school, your family, would be proud of you for having good grades.
Attention from the bullies give you swirlies.
I'm sure it's the same bullies who are hassling trans people too. So yeah, that's not going to change that situation at all. Anyway, be your authentic self. Don't listen to all that noise that's come from out of there. And if you feel that you're doing stuff for other people's attention instead of what's in alignment with you, you can change all that. So yeah, that's how I do. I'm like, is this what I want to be doing? Then I'm doing it for me, and it doesn't matter what attention I'm getting. And in fact, the less attention, the better. Except for this podcast, you all should pay attention to the podcast.
We need more attention here.
Yeah, I need tons of attention at this podcast.
Yeah. Podcast. Get a podcast. That'll get you attention.
That'll get you so much attention.
Might.
Yeah. It could.
I don't know. There's lots of things. There's things, but like, yeah. I mean, yeah. It's not a thing. It's not a thing.
Yeah. Made up Republican bullshit talking point. Made up. All right. Next question. All right, and this answer is going to be poker and Beastie Boys and music free. We're just gonna
be concise. We're gonna go concise.
We're gonna nail this one. So
I like this one. License plates.
I like this one. No, we're not gonna do any of that. Apostrophes on the license plates. That's amazing.
What can I tell you? I don't know. Washington State, something else.
You sure? Maybe he didn't just go up with like a Sharpie and.
I couldn't tell you that he didn't augment. He might have made his own license plate with a 3D printer. I don't know.
I love Journey so much. I'm gonna buy a 3D printer.
I saw the freeway. I did not deep dive, it was something. It was something, and it was a nice car too. It was like when I say a Dodge Challenger, I think it was the Charger. It was the cool one, the cool modern muscle car, and it was like decked out. It had like racing stripes and a nice paint job and cool rims.
An apostrophe on the license plate.
And it said
Smokin. You sure it wasn't like a Jim Carrey reference? From like the Mask.
Could have been. Yeah. I feel like it could have been that. It could have been that. I mean, whatever. It could have been. It could have been a Breaking Bad reference.
Well, now I feel like we need to. Now I feel like we need to go to the state of Washington.
Maybe it was Jesse Pinkman.
We have to go to the DMV and track down this license plate and have a guest appearance on the podcast. Just talk to this person. Yeah. All right. Here's a good question. I like this one. It's going to be a nice conversation here. What's your relationship with your reflection? I used to have no feelings towards my reflection. In hindsight, I probably dissociated every time I saw myself in the mirror, but I had just normalized the feeling. I used to never own mirrors other than whenever came with the bathroom. Now, as I'm in the middle of transition, I realize that I filled my apartment with mirrors. Every time I walk past one, I feel like the roadrunner where I'm stopped dead in my tracks with interest. That's a good visual. Mimi.
I like that.
I don't necessarily feel instant recognition, like I hear a lot of trans folks say happens when they see their authentic gender for the first time, but I do feel a fascination both when I'm femme and when I'm half to boy mode, like I'm trying to understand who is staring back. So I guess I'm curious if anyone else has complicated feelings about their reflection while in the middle of transition.
What a good question.
That is a good question. I did a good job on
I
this one.
like that
Yeah.
one.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I mean, I'll tell you this, like,
Yeah.
I have always been a tad narcissistic and
Mhm.
have always kind of been infatuated with my own reflection since I was a little kid and even pre-transition. But I will say that like definitely transitioning, oh, like yeah, definitely so, like 100%, like absolutely fascinating because it's fascinating. Like when you transition and when you slowly morph from like one gender to the other, like it is the most fascinating thing to see, and especially when you're like you're very gradually achieving essentially your heart's deepest
Mhm.
desire, like, and you get there and like you slowly achieve you watch and like you just like it's so fascinating and it's
Yeah.
just like you're just like, oh, and you want to see things and you see the subtle differences over time and you're just like, oh, and like yeah, that first year of
Mm.
transitioning I would just stare at my reflection for like just like probably not hours but like minutes,
There is a
like
thing where you
long.
stop and you're just like,
You're just like, fuck, this
fuck.
is wild. Like, yeah, and
Yeah.
especially like when your whole body changes and you have a full length mirror, or you're dressing and you're dressing in clothes and there you start filling them out correctly,
Mm.
and like it is fascinating and it is engaging and intriguing and it is mesmerizing, and I think it's the most valid thing in the world to do that, like,
Yeah.
and especially like if you're coming from a place where you weren't really happy with your reflection
Yeah.
before. And I think the most natural, like most legitimate thing there is.
Yeah.
So in that sense, yes, I do that too. Like
Yeah.
in that's my feelings. I think it's great.
I think
I think it's great. And I think
constantly,
it's really healthy, actually.
yeah, tied to that is photos. Because I would say if you like went to my Instagram and like scrolled all the way back to when I started Instagram, you could probably tell when I transitioned. Not because of the pictures of me in the photos, but because suddenly there were pictures of
There's
me in
light
the
in your
photos.
eyes.
No, I didn't. I put like if I went somewhere, I posted pictures of where I was, pictures of the
Mhm.
thing around me, and then once I started transitioning, it was like selfie time and taking pictures of
I
yourself
started
and stuff
taking
like that.
selfies, like, yeah,
Yeah,
for the first time.
yeah.
I still don't do it a lot because I don't like the way I look in still photos and I have a bad camera in my phone and I'm not a good photographer. But like all of those reasons, like, but like I don't take a lot of pictures.
Yeah,
Like I feel like I look fine on video and in real life, but in stills, I'm never happy with what I see.
yeah.
Like very rarely.
I've practiced my angles, and
Yeah,
I
you
know
gotta.
capture
You
how to
gotta do it.
capture my face in the most likable way. But yeah, I feel like and when I never used to like look in my mirror and like would never have like a visceral reaction before I transitioned, but I didn't care about anything. I
You
wore
didn't
t-shirts
care.
and
Yeah,
jeans
you
every
didn't care
day.
that much.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
didn't go. It was less self-loathing and just more like not caring. And yeah, there are days where like you look in the mirror and you just get out of the shower and your big old tits are sitting there and you're just like staring at yourself and it's just
I was
like
staring at my tits in the mirror last night before
ah
bed, and I was just like, oh my God, they're so beautiful.
yeah,
Like,
and
I'm
it's just
so
about
happy.
just like
I still do
realizing
it.
yeah,
I still look in the mirror and stare at myself like every now and then. It's less frequently than it was that first year, but like I still do. I'm like, God damn, this is wild. Cause I still remember, like, like what it was before. Like, and it's just like, it's like, fuck, this is so wild.
full disclosure, when it gets like summer here in Virginia, it gets like summery and hot and humid, I will work topless in my office. And if we weren't putting this on YouTube, I'd probably do the podcast topless too. Because yeah, it's great, and that's another thing. Like I became way more comfortable just with my body in general.
Oh, for
Like
sure. Like,
like
oh,
just like
so much more comfortable. Like I can actually feel attractive. Like, and here's the thing is like I was like qualifyingly attractive pre-transition. I was an
hmm
attractive man. Like I was good looking and like
yeah
people found me attractive and like but I never felt attractive. Like I never felt good about myself. It's like I knew I could work with what I had, but
yeah
like it was never I never felt good about it. Like and so but like when I transitioned and I started actually like being attractive in a feminine way, like it changed my entire outlook on it, and it was just like, oh my god, I can actually do this. Like I do actually, because I
yeah
never felt sexy. I never felt like sexy before, but now I can. And now it's like I can look in the mirror and it's like, oh yeah, I understand
I
this.
get
Like I
it
get
yeah
this. Like I know what to do. Like I know how to be. This makes sense to me. Like it didn't make sense before, and it was like it was all fake, and it was like I was trying to like it was just so much of a construct that like
yeah
it was just like it was artifice. It was all artifice, and I was just guessing at everything.
yeah. I
I
had the
like
opposite
I don't
problem before
yeah,
transitioning. I was just like chunky ugly garbage, and now I'm just like chunky sexy garbage.
beautiful. I love you.
Yeah,
But
it surprised me like after my transition, like let's just say if someone else were here, if I was with someone, how quickly I'd be like, yeah, I'll just take off my clothes. I don't care. Like I'm
mm.
completely comfortable
Oh
in
yeah,
my own
absolutely
skin.
comfortable being naked and
Yeah,
like yeah, no problems with like showing off like yeah
yeah,
at all.
just
Like
like
none. Like yeah, I was like I could be fully naked and be fine, and like I could walk through a grocery store and it wouldn't. The reason I don't is for other people. It's not for me.
right. It's not for me.
Yeah, it's like I'd be perfectly happy just like going through the aisles of Winco, just picking out produce with my tits just hanging out. And
Oh
like it's
man.
like no problem at all. Like, hey, yeah, you like meh. It's like and like but like
But I'd also be like, you don't like? I don't give a shit.
yeah,
Yeah,
also that too.
yeah.
It's like but like yeah, it's like it's a thing. It's like before it was like a weird a thing that's weird about it is now that I've mostly I've transitioned and like I'm on I'm happier with who I am and how I look.
Mhm.
Like I actually am better at men's fashion now too.
Yeah.
Like I can actually like appreciate that more, like because at the time like I was so frustrated by it, and it was so I was like constantly like I fucking hate men's clothes. I fucking hate my shitty choices. I hate like how I can't look the way I want. I hate how I can't fit into the things that I want to wear. There's no color. Everything's uncomfortable. Like I was and I would get angry, and like it was so hard for me. And despite that, I was extremely fashionable.
Yeah.
But like transitioning, and like now that like I'm femme and I can wear women's clothes and look great and feel great, and like I'm a lot happier about my choices. I can look back and I can look at like men's fashion. I can be like, oh, that would have looked good. Like I could do that. And I
Yeah.
get it more because I understand it more. And also like it's like the other thing was like I was like I was so worried about like keeping up an appearance and keeping up a
Yeah.
facade that like I couldn't really like it was never it was always there was always an element of apprehension and fear that came with it. It's like I was like I gotta make sure no one knows kind of thing, and like
Yeah.
riding this line between like because my whole thing was always hiding in plain sight,
Mhm.
and so like it was just like I had to ride this balance between like how much femininity can I inject into this outfit without going too far to make it look like I'm secure in my masculinity. It's like what, and then calculating it and trying to hit that mark. And so it was
Yeah.
like, it was all this work that was like, it was artifice and like,
Yeah.
and it wasn't natural. And like, and now that I'm free of that. I can be myself. Like I can appreciate all of it. And also like I find men attractive now and like where I never did before. And
Yeah.
that has a difference on it too, because then I can appreciate a well-dressed man and an attractive man. And like
Yeah.
I can see what's attractive about it. Whereas before it was just like, I guess this looks good.
I think as we're going here, just talking about like that fashion sense and like how you approach yourself. And I would say like I said, when I was before I transitioned, I was like t-shirt and jeans. If I wore something else, it was just like obnoxious. And I feel like I didn't have fashion sense, but I was also just like didn't put any effort in. And I would say like honestly, I probably have the same fashion sense, but I've embraced the thing where it's just like I am gonna wear what I like and what I'm comfortable with, and I'm just gonna wear it at 100% me. And I think there's a thing like if you're wearing something and you're confident in it, that's where all the power comes from. The power doesn't come from the fact that you're wearing like an expensive designer thing or that you put together. It's the confidence you exude while wearing it. And so,
Right.
I like I said, I would say that I have a lot of just pedestrian stuff, but I also like do a lot of I also like mix a lot of stuff that probably wouldn't work, or I wear stuff that maybe is just like
Oh yeah, you gotta do that.
yeah,
Like
it's just like
you gotta break the rules, like
where
for sure.
and so that's it. That's what I was gonna go with the rules is I tell this to all trans people when it comes to makeup, when it comes to fashion, you are already breaking every rule
You're
by
already
transitioning.
shattering every standard there ever was.
The
Like,
rules do not apply
do
to
not
us
apply to
in
us.
any way, and you do whatever the
Nope.
fuck you want. And if you feel comfortable
Yep.
and it makes you feel confident, that's just going to give you more powerful. And if it makes someone else uncomfortable, if it makes some person with a stick up their ass more uncomfortable, that's more power for you too. And your power is in embracing that. And yeah, so anytime it's like I don't know how to do this makeup, it's like fuck it. Your makeup rules don't apply anymore. Gender rules don't apply anymore. Do a look that makes you feel cool, that makes you feel confident, and that's all that
That's
matters.
like a video game character. When you go and you build your character and Fallout and you get fucking wild on that shit.
Yeah.
Like get wild. Get
Oh my
wild.
god. My Red Dead Redemption character that has every scar I can possibly put on her face. I think it looks cool.
Yeah, do it.
It looks kind of craggy and old, but guess
Your
what? I'm
cyberpunk
craggy and old
character,
too.
do
Yeah.
that one. Be that.
Fuck
Get
yeah.
yourself the implants.
And then, for real, do it in real life and do your makeup
Do
the way
it.
you want and wear
Do it.
max
Everyone
stripes
should
and
dress
polka
like
dots.
a video game character.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Fuck it all up.
That's why we like dressing our video game characters, because we're if you want to see someone's
free
most
to
authentic
try
self,
things and go
look at how they
wild.
dress their video game character. Be like, that's
It's
how
so
you want to
true.
look. Yeah. Yeah.
But you're free
Yeah.
to do it. Like, yeah, it's so good.
Yeah. Well, of course, no one
Yeah.
cares. No one cares how Far Cry 5 lady looks. She's just killing psychopaths. But it's like
Right.
I can't go dressed like that to the Ralphs or yes, you can. Yes, you can.
You can. You can do it.
No
You can
one
do it out
can.
in the world. You can't really do it at work sometimes.
Did you just miss the part where I said I work topless? You could do it.
You do. Not everyone. Not everyone. You can't go topless into the office, and some people still have to go back into the office because Elon Musk's a dick. You know, it's like, or whatever. They're all dicks. Because every boss is a dick, and that's why I'm never having a fucking job again.
But honestly, when it comes to this, like, yeah, I think it comes with like dropping the veneer, and it's kind of like we've talked about, like dropping all these things that you're putting on and who you should be and how you should be. And as you start your transition, you're just being your best self. And when you look in the mirror, you're seeing that reflected back to you, and not necessarily this mask you're putting on so you can exist in the world day to day. And I hear that a lot, that trans people, like they like all of a sudden, like they don't mind having their picture taken. It is. You're in love with yourself.
When you see the pictures, you see those before and afters. When you watch, like if you look at glow ups or anything, and you see the differences, there's like light in the eyes. It's in the eyes of every trans before and after photo, and every single one, 100% of them. Like the before pictures are like someone trying to look happy, and you see emptiness in those eyes. You just see like nothing. Mine too. And then you look in the post pictures, and it's like you see actual happiness.
Right.
You see genuine joy and like and actual life. And you see that, and you see it in the eyes. It's in the eyes every time. And it's 100% of them. Like, and just go ahead and go out on YouTube, look at watch the transition timeline videos, like look at glow ups, just type it in and just see them and watch and just notice. You can't not notice it. It's a huge difference.
That reminds me of shoot, I forgot what I was gonna say. It was about you were talking about being happy, and damn it. Oh,
the Beastie Boys.
No, we said this question was gonna be music, poker, and Beastie Boy free. So no, it was not that.
Well,
and I'm nipping it in the bud.
Are you gonna cut that out?
Yes, I am. Yes, I am. Crap. It was about something that I thought maybe we'd said last week, but I think it might also came. I did not sign up for this podcast to be mocked by the likes of you.
Are you here to remind me?
No, stop. 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 Now I totally am never going to get back what I was thinking about. And it was one of my good ones too. It was less like, yeah, that's popping. That's a really insight for trans people. No, I don't think this is funny at all. There's like a nugget of knowledge that's floating around out there that now I can't grab onto. But that's cool. That's cool. It's all right. Just be happy. Oh, here's what it was. I was talking. You tell me if I said this on the podcast in the last week or two, or if this is a work thing. No, just don't start laughing. Let me finish it up.
No, I
But here's my goal. My goal is to be happy. My goal is to help other people be happy. And if you are against me, if you are fighting against me, then you are against happiness, and you have to justify why you're against people being happy. And I don't want to hear any of your reasons, because being against happiness is it's the evil. Evil is what's against happiness. So, embrace your happiness. What you're feeling when you see yourself is that happiness, and live that happiness and spread that happiness and let other people be happy and let yourself be happy. And, I don't know why people don't want us to be happy. I don't know why people are so against happiness. There are people out there who think the whole point of life is to be miserable. Their whole thing is being miserable. And it's just like, you're here for 60 years, 80 years, 30 years, whatever time you get. Like, enjoy the time you have. Like, people don't want to enjoy their lives. I don't know why. You're right. They're in a death cult. They eat flesh and blood every day at church. They've convinced themselves
you die is more important than what happens when you're alive, and they're stupid.
It's because when you die, nothing happens. Nothing happens when you die.
Maybe it does, but it ain't more important than this.
Yeah, so be happy, revel in your happiness. Look in your mirror and see the happiness in your face and feel it in your soul. And that's what everything is about. I'm glad I remembered that. It wasn't as great a nugget of knowledge as I thought it was. But at least I got to stop talking about the Beastie Boys. Thank you.
I can stop talking about the Beastie Boys.
We all breathed a sigh of relief at that.
I don't know about that. I think it's hilarious.
Yeah, I'm just gonna do like a post show breakdown here on the show. These two questions today really gave me a good feeling. It gave me a good feeling. Like, a lot of times we talk about some heavy stuff, but I really just want everyone to embrace that happiness and embrace your authenticity. And y'all spread that through the world. I think a lot of us think that you can only change the world if you are famous, or you have a big audience, or you have a social media reach. But honestly, if you can't change the life of every person that you come in contact with, if you can infect them with happiness, if you can make them love themselves, then you're making the world a better place. Because really, that's where a lot of hate comes from. A lot of hate comes from people who don't love themselves. And I'm not going to argue that point, because if you talk to those people for any length of time, you can tell they're miserable. And be happy. Make your own personal self a place where people can be happy. Give people permission to be their authentic, happy selves around you, because the world needs that. And you don't have to have
so true.
a million
Even
followers.
Neil Diamond said that.
Right? And I'll allow that. Neil Diamond. Who doesn't love Neil
Oh,
Diamond?
Neil Diamond.
Oh,
I'm
Neil
glad.
Diamond. Yeah. But yeah. Like make the world a better place one person at a time. You don't need you don't need to be on TV. You don't have to have a social media following. You don't have to, get clicks, like, and subscribe. But with that said, please click like and subscribe on the podcast, whether you're listening on podcast or you're watching on YouTube. We want y'all.
Do it.
We all want you.
We
want
need all
you
the
to
things.
think this to be your place where you can be happy and you can listen to us for
We
a little
want more
while.
people to see it. And the more people that
Yeah.
click that like and subscribe, the more people that see it, and the more people
Yeah.
are happier. And the more people get to understand themselves a little better, and it helps more and more people.
Yeah. And I think
It's about helping people. We're not making any money. We don't care about money, but I need that money. Give me that money.
She does need the money.
I do need that money.
I literally do not care about money. But
I don't like it.
I don't like it, but this is where I'm at. This is where I'm at. That's all you. That's all you can say.
We're not doing this for money.
No, we're doing this for. We want, like I said, I want you to be happy. And everyone listening, if they're trans, they're all in various stages of their transition, whether they took their first shot of tea today or they've been on estrogen for a decade. We're all on this journey together and realize that, or they haven't. You're right. You're right. I just picked two random points. I didn't mean to. I didn't mean to exclude anyone. Those are 2 points.
On your fire. I'm just adding.
Those are 2 points I picked. Yes, they could be waiting for the time because it's not safe for them right now. And the point is, you need to embrace that happiness inside you and being who you are, knowing that you're lovable and you're worth love and you're worthy of self-love. And that's the first step, is really embracing that total self. Y'all are amazing.
I love you.
Yeah. I'm not gonna like name data points on your transition timeline because I don't want to exclude anyone, but you're all amazing and you all deserve the best of everything. Every one of you.
Send us in your questions.
Yeah, send us your questions. girldickwithted@gmail.com. Right?
girldickwithted@gmail.com. Yes,
click like and subscribe. Smash that icon bell for now.
Hinting. We might change it.
That's now you're kind of committing to it. Oh, are you gonna have a contest? Do you want to have a contest?
Do you want to have a contest?
I don't know. What are the chances that it just gets changed to like Girl Dick with Ron DeSantis, which is somehow even worse?
Oh no.
No.
Oh no.
No.
Oh no. No, we're not having Meatball Ron up in here. Fat Ron can go fuck himself.
It's the most garlic scented podcast on the internet.
Oh, fuck that guy. Oh, I hate that motherfucker.
I don't hate anyone.
I hate that guy.
I feel sad for him. I can't imagine the hell that being trapped in that mind is every day.
It would be horrible.
I mean, imagine, and that's what he's living every day. So yeah, let's say you got some ideas for podcast. You're like, I love y'all. Y'all are beautiful, but I don't know if I want to share this with friends. Maybe you're an expert on search engine optimization, and you want to like give us a name that'll like really really get our audience. I mean, a few ideas. Like, I like two trans girls from Milwaukee. I like Girl Talk, not with Ted Cruz. Girl Talk would probably be the easiest.
Honestly, it's not terrible. I mean, I feel like it's got to be some sort of copyright infringement, but like I also don't care.
Right. So send us your ideas. If we get no ideas, then we'll just pick a new one ourselves, and we're the two who came up with Girl Dick with Ted Cruz. So keep that. Which is still the greatest name for a podcast ever in history.
It's good.
But we do have to think about our reach and who we're connecting with. Yeah, I think most people
working for numbers.
I think we have a lot of people who they search for podcasts for right-wing bullshit. They get Ted Cruz. They probably aren't that good at reading, so they just see Ted Cruz's picture in the logo and they're like, well, this looks like something for people who can't read and don't want to learn the new things, and they click on it and it's us. And then if we're lucky, they just hear that Ted Cruz isn't going to be there this week, and they just stop listening and they come back next week. And then, and if we're not lucky, they leave a review where they're just like, "This is the worst podcast ever," and it's just like, it's not the worst podcast ever. So
there's so many worse podcasts.
There's so many worse podcasts.
A lot of them are
So
really
many.
popular.
I'm not gonna judge that. But yeah, so help us if you listen regularly. Send us your ideas. Not all
Spread the word.
ideas, not all ideas will be accepted, but they will all be considered
They will
and
all be
read.
considered.
Yeah,
They will all be considered.
yeah.
Yeah,
All
yeah.
right. It
Tell
was
your
beautiful
friends,
spending
show your
time. Tell your friends.
friends, have a
Yeah.
listening party.
Is that a
Get
thing?
together with some people and
Yeah.
like be like, hey, let's listen to Girl Deck with Ted Cruz with Amanda and Lilith and see what happens. Let's all get together.
Cuddle party is what happens.
That's okay too.
That's great. Yeah. Yeah. Y'all are beautiful. Keep
We
telling
love
yourself
you.
that because it's true. And we do love you and love yourself. And have an amazing week. And we look forward to speaking with you in the future. And we're looking for those ideas. Bye.